RMSO Bigfoot podcast. Jenny, Derek, Sean, and I, Kelly, welcome Dustin from the YouTube channel Finding Treasure in Colorado. Sean Oryavong, aka Sean Evidence from Bigfoot Evidence, contacted me last week and had me check out a video Dustin had posted with the vocalization that appeared to be, and Dustin appeared to be visibly shaken up, along with his poor dog. It did not look rehearsed, and that vocalization was just crazy. When I heard the vocalization, it reminded me of the intense and intimidating roar we heard and captured on a video camping along the Montana-Idaho border at the famous deadly Bauman Bigfoot location that the late President Teddy Roosevelt writes about. I had Jenny listen to the video, and she said it sounded like the Jurassic Park T-Rex roar we captured on the Utah Sasquatch Canyon near the structure complex and 77 Bigfoot sighting location. All three of these videos with the vocalizations will be in the description down below this podcast. If they're not there now, it'll be there once the podcast is finished. Watch and listen to the videos and subscribe to RMSO and Dustin's channel if you already have not. So, hey, Dustin, amazing vocalization you captured when you were going back to your truck with your dog. I could tell that your dog was really shook up and you were a bit freaked out too. What was going through your mind when you heard that roar?
Just to basically get to my truck as quickly as I could. And luckily I was already pretty close. I kind of felt like brainless in the way where you feel like speechless. Like I didn't know what to think. I had no idea what I heard. I just didn't know what to think. I didn't really know what to do. I just kind of slowed down walking and just kept heading towards my truck.
Go ahead.
How far away do you think the noise was from you?
I think it was somewhere like 200 to 400 feet.
Oh, so it was pretty close.
Yeah, it sounded really close.
All the more reason to double time.
Yeah.
With the first time we heard a vocalization like that, like I said, we were at the Bauman location. We spent many years going to the Idaho-Montana border searching for that. And once we found it the very first time that we camped there, elks were bugling across the river from us while we were setting up camp. And I was like, if you haven't heard elk vocalize live, it's crazy intense. So we set up a camera filming us set up camp, hoping to catch these vocalizations. Well, we didn't. Just within maybe 30 seconds, a minute or so after setting up the camera, it roared up on the mountain across the river from us, and the elk scattered, birds went crazy, and it freaked Jenny and I out. And later on that night, it was just before dark that it all happened, and later on that night, something started stalking back and forth the river from us. Jenny kept waking me up. Something's across the river, pacing back and forth. It even came across the river. Don't know what it is. Never did see it, but I don't know if you guys have heard or watched the documentary about the Bauman deal, but they heard the vocalizations and the creature paced back and forth opposite the river from them. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is playing out just like the Bauman deal, Well, that's what your vocalization reminded me of, except for you captured it a lot better than we did. We had a crappy microphone on that camera. And whatever it was really close to you.
Yeah, and you know what it kind of reminded me of, Dustin, is like one of those scary Halloween movies where like something's chasing you and all of a sudden your camera dies.
Oh yeah, well that's exactly what it felt like too. So yeah, and I was fortunate. I had another battery, right away ready in my pocket, so I got it back on pretty quick. But yeah, go figure, the battery dies right then.
So forgive my ignorance, but kind of give me a like a rundown of exactly where were you? What were you doing? How remote were you?
It really isn't that remote. I sent a picture, I believe, to Kelly, right?
Yeah,
it's like a satellite Yeah, so it's a satellite view looking down. So basically, I got there at like 8:15 in the morning, and then I was digging up on this hill. That's probably just about 200-300 feet opposite of where this stuff happened. And then I was there till about 1:15. That's when I made my way down towards the river, and so then I was there kind of rock hounding probably about 20 minutes, and I was just trying to get some good footage of this fluorite. It's like a rock hound thing. And
photo, I don't mean to interrupt.
yeah, so if you look at that photo, that explains it really good. I don't know if you're able to print that up or not.
If you can see it, that means everyone else does. Is it in the small window, or is it?
I just see your folders with a bunch of different files in it.
Okay.
Satellite. Yeah, the one that says satellite.
So you were there most of the day. How late in the day did this actually happen?
It actually, well, I had to pick up my son actually from school, so I had to leave. It was like 1:45.
So you were there for a good 4 or 5 hours, though.
Yeah, from like 8 in the morning.
Obviously causing a ruckus, your smells being traveling around the area and stuff. So absolutely could have attracted something to come see what's going on.
Yeah, smashing rocks, hitting rocks. And I use this thing that's called a spud bar. So it's this big, huge iron bar. It probably weighs, I don't know, 30 pounds or so. And you use that to kind of smash into the ground and help break up stuff, including tree stumps. So there's probably some decent noise.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would bring that noise on.
Definitely something odd in the area that something might be curious enough to come and check out what's going on.
But I've been there. So basically, I found this spot about 2 years ago. So since then, I've been back probably around 25, 30 times. So I mean, once I kind of figured out what's going on, or this whole Bigfoot thing, it kind of felt like maybe they've been watching me this whole time. And this was the first time that I brought a dog with me, and they were maybe pissed off about the dog. I have no idea, but this was the first time that I ever brought a dog.
Maybe it felt threatened. I don't know.
Yeah, I picked up something you guys were doing the elk calls. You said that once you got your camera out, then it made the noise. That's kind of how this was, because the camera's like on a tripod, or the camera was down low where I'm like digging. When I'm walking out there, I have the camera out, and in front of me, and I don't know if maybe that was another thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. How scared was your dog?
How scared?
Yeah,
she was under the truck. She ran into me. First she ran into me. Okay, so she wouldn't. So I'm digging, and I'm keeping an eye on her pretty good because she's not on a leash, and this is her first time out.
There you go, Kelly.
Sorry, I'm technically challenged.
Yeah.
I'm a Bigfooter, not a computer guy.
Yeah, that helps. So I'm really good at Photoshop. So I just threw this together here in a few minutes. So you can see exactly. You see where my truck is at?
Yeah.
That'd be the place to start. So the little dots that I did up that hill. So that's where I was digging most of the day. And then, throughout the day, I would have come down this little path about 3 times, and the dog she'd be with me, and nothing happened. So we were down visible by my truck there about 3 different times throughout the day, and there was nothing out of the ordinary.
Just to ask, what kind of dog you have? It's a big dog, small dog?
She's a lab. It's medium
A lab?
size. Yeah.
She's
Probably
really
about 80
cute.
pounds or so. 70, 80 pounds.
Yeah, 70 maybe. Yeah.
She looked really sad after she heard the
Yeah, her
vocalization.
ears were all hanging down and sad.
I told her when we got home that I was sorry.
Poor little girl.
Yeah, but so you can see, so I was up there on that hill. I came down, around like 1:15, and then I'd go over to that spot where it says my dig spot at the end of the day, last 20 minutes, where I was walking from when the roar roared at. So whatever. That's where I was digging at. That's the first time that Kaya came running back to me and was scared. And I mean, I've never seen anything in this area. I have no reason to be afraid of anything at all. So the only logical thing I thought about at the time was ducks or geese, because a lot of times the ducks and the birds will be in the water and they'll be right up on the edge. That's where they like to stay. So I thought, and she was kind of over there. She was by the river just messing around, and the brush and the grass is really tall right there. So I thought that maybe she just like snuck through and like got surprised by a goose or something, and they came running back to me. And then that's what I actually said in the video. I was like, oh, she must have been afraid of ducks or geese. But I didn't actually even see any birds there. You know, that was just my assumption. And when I go back and look at the video, I also don't see any birds. That's just what I thought at the time. So
Didn't sound like a bird at all to me.
Well, she probably, and I don't think that a lab would be afraid of the ducks, so it must have been something else.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think she would either.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, she'd probably jump in after him, but I just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even think anything of it. She just came back. She was scared. I didn't even think anything of it, you know?
You think,
Yeah.
you think she smelled? Do you think she smelled something?
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, definitely. Because that subscriber digging down under, you know, he saw something in the video, and then I went and looked at it, and I saw this big brown mass in this tree. So I went back to that tree at the same time of day, like 1:45, and there's no big brown mass in it. So I was like, okay, so there's definitely something in that tree. With how close that had to have been, she had to have smelled that.
So did you notice any type of behavioral differences prior to this happening?
No,
Nothing at all. It was just
that's what I
normal.
was saying. We went down to the truck like 3 different times throughout the day. You know, and she'll I would let her kind of do her thing. She'd get 20, 30, maybe even 50 feet away from me before I would call her back and just let her run around, and there wasn't anything.
So it was at the very end of your day
Yeah.
when she got scared.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe it was there the whole time and it just got close enough for her to smell.
Exactly. That's what I am thinking. And then another person, I don't know if they're subscribed to the channel or not, they left a comment about maybe that was a juvenile that was in that tree and was that close. And then there was an adult that was like higher up and further away that actually was the one that roared.
Might have
to
been.
kind of alert the juvenile that, hey, this guy with a dog and a crazy towel wrapped on his head and a backpack on with a tripod sticking out of it and a camera out in front of his face is, you know. So someone made that comment, and maybe that's possible. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
could
that is possible.
absolutely see something like that happening. Basically scolding it for doing something it shouldn't have been doing, getting too close and putting itself out there. So I absolutely could see that happening.
It was really close, and it really bugs me because there was something in that tree. There's absolutely something in that tree. And when I go back and look, I'm like, how could I have not seen that? You know, like I was looking after there was a roar. I was standing there and looking. Dog was under the truck, and she was looking too in that direction. And it basically looked like it was right in front of me, and I didn't see anything at all.
See, that's kind of something, you know, that I think Kelly and Jen would agree that just doing this year after year and going out there, we kind of train ourselves to be observant enough to see stuff like that. Normally, you don't see stuff like that. You don't pick it up unless you're looking. You know what I mean? It's something that you almost train yourself to pick up after a while. So
one of the first things that I wanted to know after I heard those vocalizations, and that, you know, they reminded me of the one at the Bauman, and then Jenny reminded me of the one that we recorded at the 77 sighting location in Utah, is where it was, you know, and then I heard that it was in Decker, Colorado area. And right off the top of my head, I knew of 3 separate Bigfoot sightings that have happened around that area.
Really?
Yeah, one of them at a golf course in the area, a nighttime sighting. And then another rockhound guy was in digging around, and he had a daytime sighting. And then there was also a road cross sighting near that area. And so then I went and looked up some of the Bigfoot sightings on record, and there's 9 more of them south of there. So you know, and this is over like a 30-year period. I mean, Bigfoot sightings are pretty rare. I mean, it's not like 3 sightings this year. I mean, I think one of the sightings near there, the golf course one, was in like 1998. And then the most recent one was in 2005. But the creature, in my opinion, is really elusive. Like, take, for instance, a mountain lion. It does not want to be saw by anything. And I think Bigfoot's the same way, except for Bigfoot is a lot more rare. and so it's harder to, you know, spot. I mean, in my 40-something years of existence, I've ever only seen 2 mountain lions out in the wild, and unfortunately last May it followed Jenny, I, and 3 other guys at night for about a quarter of a mile. It was a really intense standoff that we had with the mountain lion. However, mountain lion does not make that roar. Mountain lions, they say they're more like a cat. They make more like a hissing, you know, they don't have that intense, loud T-Rex roar. So I kind of want to rule out a mountain lion right now. And it was a Bigfoot sighting area. There's a lot of Bigfoot sightings around there.
Yeah, this is my second one in the area. I mean, the other one wasn't a sighting, but I can tell you in a bit about something else that happened in the same area. But when that roar happened, so basically I've been camping, you know, my whole life, and I've seen bears, probably like 10 different bears. So I've been out in the wild quite a bit, and when that sound happened, my brain didn't put an image of a bear or a mountain lion or anything like that in my head. You know, like I said, I just was like dumbfounded. I didn't know what to think. I honestly started thinking like, okay, there's just some people up there in the hill that are like trying to mess with me, and they have some crazy audio equipment, you know, and like, that's what my brain told me. My brain is like, went to this denial system and said, here, this is what happened. Just believe this. And I actually believed that. I actually believed that for a while. You know, it got me, I guess it got me through the moment. But yeah, like when I got home, I listened to sounds, and the more I thought about it, that clearly wasn't what was happening. Not to mention there was no covers.
Doesn't it? It kind of leaves you feeling vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was out there, you know, in the wide open space there, and heard this thing. So yeah, your brain is just trying to like come up with something that's not a big, smart, scary thing out there, you know, watching you.
Yeah. Have you been back?
Yeah, I went back.
Good for you.
Yeah, but I
got videos of it. So
yeah, I can't rockhound there.
You can't?
No, I can't rockhound. You have to be focused. You know, like you're looking in the dirt, right? You're looking down. You're looking at rocks. No, I basically went back to see if I could get another recording, if I could get something else to happen.
Yeah.
But no, I could not focus.
This is a side question here. How do you get into rockhounding? I've never heard of rockhounding until we saw your video.
I don't know. I kind of started when I was a young boy. Actually, just found some cool rocks at the park across the street where I lived. But you know, that an interesting thing about this spot, it has gold. There's gold there.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's 3 variations of fluorite. So one of them is in one of my videos. It's dark purple, and there's 2 others there. And there's also crystals. And basically, I feel like you couldn't pay me to go back and actually rockhound on my own. You know, like if I'm there and I'm focused on if something's watching me, that's different than down on my knees digging. And I don't know, maybe it'll just take some time. But
see, and I think we're just kind of opposite, because stuff like that happens to us, and it's a magnet. It draws us back to the same place time and time again.
Well, our first time to the actually it was our third time to the 77 sighting location. Jenny and I went in there, and we found a footprint, and we were in the denial mode while we went across the river. And before we got to the river, we were in the willows, and there was this big thump that shook the ground. And I turned back and looked at Jenny, and I'm like, keep your eye out for a moose, because that's the only thing I could think of that would thump the ground like that, to where you actually felt the ground move and everything. And then we got up to this beaver dam and used that as a bridge to cross. And as we're crossing, I'm like, you smell that? You know, we could just smell something that intensely stunk. Something smelled dead. We get across, and Jenny spots the first footprint. And, you know, it was in loose gravel and everything. And we're looking, oh, that's kind of interesting. But, you know, it could be anything. You know, it wasn't definitive. Then we went to, she showed me another footprint. And then we followed it to the bank of the river, and 5 inches deep, right next to the water. And you could see on the opposite side of the river where it leaped So I'm thinking what shook the ground may have been in front of us and made that. I think I got the footprint. Let me.
We
share that
actually
with you
had it
guys.
as our main upper graph of our site forever.
Hey, Dustin, did you say you had another experience? Did you say you saw another time?
I
When
didn't
was
see
that?
it was last year. So that map that I sent you, the very first map, I had that blue circle and that black circle. So I don't know if you guys have it in the folder there, but I think it's probably about 5 miles away.
I'll go grab it. Could you guys see the footprint?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could see where it leaped and it landed right there and then leaped up onto the embankment. And this right here was like 5 inches deep. And I was staring at it in denial. I'm sorry the picture doesn't do it justice. But I mean, it was just crazy intense. And we actually casted this. And while we were casting it, something bluff charged from up above the direction the footprints went. Something bluff charged, and even though we're staring at a footprint, we're in a Bigfoot sighting place, we're looking for Bigfoot. I'm expecting an elk or a moose to be coming down for water, and I'm watching for it to break the tree line, and it stops out of sight and paces back and forth, just breaking branches and stomping around, and it scared the hell out of us. I mean, this was like an hour before the sun went down, and we didn't have a firearm. We had jogger's mace. And
little one that don't do nothing.
Yeah, and it kept this up for about 45 minutes, and then finally I'm like, you know what? I got up some gumption, and I drugged Jenny up the mountain looking for whatever it was. And as soon as we started coming up to where it kept stomping back and forth, it got quiet, and we could hear it go back quietly into the draw and hide from us.
Wow.
And we didn't find any more definitive tracks like this one or the ones by the bank because of the tall grasses, but we saw where it did all the damage and stomped everything down and everything. And then finally, you know, it's getting dark, and we got to go dig that up because neither one of us wanted to be out after dark with this thing. Go back down to the footprint, and it charges the tree line again and starts running back and forth.
Wow.
And then it was a couple of years later that we were there again is when it roared. We crossed the river, got to the other side, and captured the roar. And that link will be down in the description of the video. It's the 77 structure. Let me find your photo you're talking about, Dustin. Which one do you want me to bring up?
So it was just it's just a map. It's like a satellite, but it's not a Google Earth image. It's just a regular map.
Okay. Let me go find that for us.
I think it's called Two Sightings.
Yeah, I found it. I'll bring it up for us.
And it's not actually sightings, you know, it's just what I called it, but it should be called Two Encounters.
How long ago did this happen?
It was like a year ago. It was last year.
Is that it?
So yeah, the blue circle. Excuse me, that would be it. And I thought it was a bear. I've thought that it was a bear all the way up until about a week ago.
When you heard the sounds?
Yeah.
What happened then?
So I actually I kind of have it written down here if you guys want me to read it to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, so I'm returning to an area where me and my wife had been mushroom hunting and spotted some quartz and hematite crystal rocks in the ground. I'm alone this time. There are no people around. There are no other people around when it was just her and I either. We're just off in a random area up in the woods. It's about 3/4 of a mile up from a paved road. So it's not like we're, you know, deep out somewhere in Alaska. So I'm alone. I have this very uneasy feeling that's haunting me that won't leave me alone, but I'm trying to ignore it and just get to digging. I lay out my shovel, my gloves, my water. I wrap a t-shirt around my head because that's what I do because I sweat so bad. And I was just trying to focus on digging and just kind of tell myself that, you know, I'm just being paranoid and there's nothing there. So I did actually go ahead and start to dig a little bit. About 15 minutes go by. I do find some good rocks, and we've actually discovered a 9-pound crystal.
Oh my.
Yeah, smoky quartz 9-pound crystal in this spot, fully terminated, if you guys know what that means.
What's
So anyway,
terminated?
That it actually has all of the shape that you would see on a crystal, 6 sides to it. It's not just like it's not just a piece of quartz rock.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I'm digging, and I basically get to a point after like 15, 20 minutes, I tell myself, okay, this is enough. I can't focus. You know, I have like this sick feeling in my stomach that something is just like there and it's just watching me. So this area that I'm digging in is about 30 by 50 feet of just kind of dirt. And then I'm surrounded by scrub oak and pine trees, basically. So I walk out to the edge of this little opening and I don't see anything. I don't see anybody. I don't hear anything. I tell myself, I'm the biggest thing out here, you know, as far as like a human being. I say, you know, anything out here is going to be more afraid of me than I am of it. And basically, and then I kind of turn around, I go back to dig again. And as I'm walking, and as I just had that thought, there's this really big, loud, crunching, breaking noise that sounded like it was just over my shoulder. Like it was really, really, really loud. It wouldn't even be, you know, like when you step on a log to break something camping, you know?
Yeah.
You'd have to be like 1,000 pounds to break something, like a big, it was just a huge sound. So basically I got shot full of adrenaline and I jumped around. I pulled my gun out because I had a 45 on me. I always have it on me, you know, tucked under my belt, and it was under my shirt, so you wouldn't be able to see it until I pulled it out. And then I kind of drew it up like a little bit. I wasn't pointing it, but I just had it out and had it ready. And I was just kind of froze, because something made this loud noise, and then no noise at all, just complete dead silence. So I don't know how long I was froze there. I can't remember. But then I finally said something. I said, "Who's there?" No one said anything. I was like, "Hell no!" I shot my gun into the ground. I actually fired the weapon in the ground. I was that scared. And still nothing said anything. And I was like, "Who's there? I have a gun. I'm going to shoot." And nothing said anything. I shot it again in the ground. So, you know, this whole time I've just kind of told myself it wasn't a person, because I'm pretty sure somebody would say something and not want to be shot.
Yeah, they'd be saying,
Yeah,
"Don't
exactly.
shoot, don't shoot,
Right.
it's me."
So I've always thought it was just a bear, but I mean, I would think that a bear after that would at least like run away or do something. It was just dead silent. So I think that silence freaked me out just as much as the sound did. So basically I was like packing up my stuff, kind of like looking, you know, and packing, and then I just backed myself. I backed out of the forest, and I actually shot my gun 2 more times in the ground as I was backing out back to my truck.
Wow, that's
So
scary.
that's what it was. I cannot go there alone. So that's the second place. Well, I've had 2 places now that have been ruined for me for rockhounding. But that's what that blue circle is on that map.
Wow.
Yeah. I always thought
That's
it was
really-
a bear until now. Now I think it's, you know, one of these things.
One
Yeah,
of
that makes
one
sense.
of our favorite places to go, a rock counter, as you would call it, turned us on to the place. He and his girlfriend, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever it was, they got ran out by an unseen creature that was throwing things at them, vocalizing at them, and drove them out of there. And when we showed up with him the first time a couple of years ago, it's kind of funny now, but it really, the shock set in how fast they got out of there, because he took us to the spot and he had left a lot of his equipment behind, was sitting there rusting.
It
Mhm.
was.
Yeah.
There was a shovel and his
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
and
And
all
that's-
that. He just left it.
That's when we
Yeah,
started
yeah.
taking what we think may be Bigfoot structures seriously. We'd been seeing these teepee-style structures with large logs, you know, several
Mhm.
miles off trail and everything. And that location that he brought us to, that he got drove out, we've found 5 or 6 really good structures. And that's when Jenny suggested we start our GPS structure map overlay, you know, to start studying them, to see if they are Bigfoot related. So that's one of the things in your rock hounding, especially the areas where you have this suspect Bigfoot activity. We want you to keep your eye open for structures. We think that the Bigfoot may mark their territory with them, may not. North American Indian tribes state that the Bigfoot will make these territorial structures and put the same amount of logs in them as family members in their little pod or whatever you have, you know. And when a new one's born, they'll add a log. And 2 of the structures we've been studying,
One of which the 77 sighting location.
yeah, they've had logs added since we've been studying them, and they
Wow.
didn't fall into place because we can see where the indentations on the ground where the log has laid for 5, 10 years, whatever it is, and being put into place. Not saying a person went and did this. It just doesn't make sense for a person to go off trail, but they're in these Bigfoot sighting spots. I just want to show you the 77 structure that we were going to check on when,
there was an X. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I went back and I have a 500 millimeter lens, like scope, and I found a big cross there. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet or not, but it looked very, very out of place. Yeah, I see.
I see that structure. Yeah, that's the 70, and it's a structure complex. This is just one of like 3 structures that are connected in the area.
Yeah, it's not natural.
Yeah, and we were headed to that when we heard the roar. When we had the intimidation bluff charge thing, when we found the footprints, it was before we found the structure. And we come back a couple of weeks later with backup with a bunch of friends and started hiking around. And that's when we found this. And you know, it was a year before that we kind of formulated that maybe these structures in these Bigfoot sighting areas have something to do with Bigfoot. So we started studying them, and this is actually on our GPS map overlay.
Just to kind of point out a picture, and there's so much to this sighting, this 77 sighting location. That structure is about 300-400 yards away from where you guys found that footprint.
Oh no, it's much closer than that. It's about that's how far it is from the actual sighting where the campers had their sighting in 1977. But where we found the footprints and stuff the week or two before, it's less than 100 yards from those footprints.
Okay. We also, Kelly, myself, and Kelly's son Caleb, also had another one of those roars happen as we were standing inside that structure location, just up and around. I mean, we were just right by it when that actually happened. That was probably only 40 or 50 feet away, but it was pitch black. We couldn't see anything, and that was a little bit trippy.
Did you
as
have
far
a gun?
as I was concerned? Absolutely had a gun on us.
Yeah,
had a 45 on.
We haven't. After the bluff charge, we haven't gone back there without one.
Over and above that, and I'm going to bring this up. Kelly's don't like this as much as I do, but we actually caught game cam audio of, to me, sounds like nothing else other than like some type of ape grunting, almost talking back and forth. And we caught probably about 10-15 seconds of it happening. And that actually was a game cam that was sitting at that 77 sighting location. And then just across the ravine from where this sighting location is, I had a drone up in the air that we caught something that had walked. I had it way up on the top, and it was sitting up on top of a hill. Something stepped out from underneath the trees, just a big dark figure. And it looked like it looked up at the drone and then just stepped back into the trees. So it was only, all of this within, I mean, just right there, quarter mile, if not less than of that whole structure right there. So there is so much activity that happens there that it's crazy.
I'll put the link to that drone footage in the description of this video under the rest of the videos, now that you mentioned it, Derek.
Thanks, man. Sean, how about you? I mean, have you ever actually had any type of these roars or any type of instances that really got you into doing what you do?
Well, I know that that they're pretty sneaky. When I was up in the mountains at the kill site, when we were researching this area where Justin shot these creatures, they were there, like watching us for hours. Well, and we would be around the fireplace, and we didn't notice until we started walking up this road, and we caught them on thermal, just walking around our camp, and we're like, wow, this whole time they were watching us, and you can hear them. You just really can hear them walking around, or any twig snapping.
I remember watching that video. That was you and Bart Catino that caught them on therm, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was like Dustin. I was a newbie. I was like, I don't know if these things exist, but you know, but yeah.
Even when you see them, you're still not sure.
Yeah. When
your brain is just like, no.
Yeah. When people ask me today, what did you guys see up there? But we actually have it on video. I said there was nobody up there except us. Nobody knew where we're going because we never let anyone know when we're going or anything. We just give it. I don't even know we're going until the day. Okay, my friend calls me up, hey, let's go, and I have to pack up. You know, I tell Sherry bye. Right, that's it. That's the only time I get. So no one knows. So, you know, I can only suspend my disbelief so much.
Yeah,
we're the same way. I cringe when I watch these Bigfoot groups announcing what they're doing for the month or the season, or they're doing the countdown and telling everybody where they're going. Our viewers do not know where we go till after we've been there. We don't announce it. We don't want anyone going ahead of us and staging stuff. So when we're up there and we see something, we know it's the real deal because nobody knew that we were going to be there. We don't announce.
That's smart.
A lot of the places that we have found that are pretty popular to us, and then the places that we like to go, my brother found because he's a prospector. My brother and my dad are both prospectors, and a lot of the places that we go is because he's went out looking for clues and following mineral lines, or he could probably tell you a million things that I can't tell you, but
he's looking for pegmatite. He's looking for quartz and pegmatite or iron staining.
I'm sure when Brody watches this podcast, he's going to be very interested in Dustin's rockhounding.
Yeah,
I bet.
He lives right below. He lives in Colorado too. He just lives right below Denver. So yeah, he really enjoys the mountains, and he enjoys doing the gold hunting.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to continue to enjoy it. But I was freaked out once, and now I am again. So I don't know.
Well, I think you have more than one purpose now when you go out. You're rockhounding and Bigfooting.
Yeah, but I can't. I can't look down for that long of a period.
Well, so, your dog right there will let you know if anything's around. So I hope that gives you a little confidence with the dog right there.
You know what's funny? So Dustin keeps uploading these new videos, right? I can't watch them all. There's so many now, and all of them about Bigfoot now, right?
Yeah.
And Sharon, I was like, wow, he's a full-blown Bigfooter. He's nothing but Bigfoot videos.
It's like what you guys said when you have something happen and the first thing you do is you go back to that spot. You know, it's like with me, something happened and I want to figure it out. You know, I'm watching all these other people's videos. I'm sure you guys know all of them. You know, Thinker Thunker and the Colorado Bigfoot and all these other guys. Mm-hmm. So I want to figure it out. And again, that's like with the rocks. Like I really want to get some rock videos back up on my channel, but it's just not happening yet.
Keep in mind, most of the time, these things are voyeurs, man. They're just looking. They're just watching. Most of the time, that is all they're really doing. So
even if that's the case, then I would like to get that. I would, I'd be more interested on getting that now and having some proof than the rocks. So I don't know. We'll see.
Now you know why we do what we do.
Yeah.
It's definitely distracting. That's for sure.
Paul Freeman, he's one of the top 10 Bigfoot videos. He's passed away now, but he in the Blue Mountains captured some footage of Bigfoot, and he stated that they only show themselves when you're alone. So remember that when you're out there alone, that's when they show themselves.
That's exactly what I've thought. I've had people. I have a Rockhound group on Facebook. I'm not going to pitch it or plug it or anything. I don't need to do that, but we have a lot of members, and a lot of people have asked me, that they want to go with me, and that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, if someone goes with me, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to show themselves. Nothing's going to happen. I had that exact feeling. I have to be alone. Because 2 times something's happened. I've been completely alone.
Well, we'd like to go out to that area and look around with you sometime. Usually when something like this happens, we shoot right up there, but Jenny and I have used up all of our vacation Bigfooting, and so the rest of the year we're limited to weekends, and that's just too far to drive for a weekend deal. So, I mean, if you're up to it in 2019 sometime, we'd like to go and look around, see if we can find structures, footprints, and, you know, maybe lightning will strike twice. I know how rare these types of events are, so we don't go out expecting anything, but when it happens, we're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I can't speak for myself in the future, but I would like to go out there, and I'd go with you guys. But I got a picture of this X, you know, so I went out there with this big lens to the same spot, and I was just kind of waiting and watching for hours. And then I just started taking some still photos, and I got this big X. So there's like this hole, and it's pretty far up there. It's a 500 millimeter lens. So there's like this hole dug out, and there's like a boulder put into this hole. And then, yeah, it's like that, but it's on the ground, and the logs are bigger.
Okay.
And so they put this X with these logs on the ground over this hole, over this boulder. Like I said, I've kind of grown up camping my whole life, and now I'm an avid rockhound for many years. This looks very, very out of place. And so that's like one of these videos that I'm putting up, stuff that I'm finding now. You know, I've actually gotten just as many views on my rock videos as I have on this roar thing. I don't have a reason, you know, to do that. I'm just sharing what I find. But anyway, I've kind of done some due diligence, and I've looked, and yeah, I found something exactly like that, just laying down on the ground over a hole.
Well, this this X is brand new at the 77 structure and sighting location. We found it the last time we were there, and it's actually kind of in the same spot where the thing was hiding behind the trees, stomping back and forth, and it was obvious to us at the time. I think this happened in 2012. It was obvious that whatever it was did not want to be seen, but wanted to intimidate us out of there. And you know, I don't, you know, this could be natural nature or whatever, but you know, we've been going there since 2012, and it's the first time we saw it, and it just happens to be in the same place it was pacing back and forth, just making a ruckus.
Yeah, it reminds me of some other things. Back on the side of the hill where I'm digging, if I were to go up that hill a little bit further, there's rocks that are stacked, and I have photos of these. So three or four rocks stacked on top of each other. No way. I thought someone put it there. I've always just thought people put it there. And there's trees that are dead that are upside down.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, and they're leaned up against another tree. And then there's another one that's a broken bottle that is slid into a tree branch sticking on a tree. So all that stuff's in this area, and if that's people or not, I don't know. But
we had a really weird rock experience, Dill, out there in Sasquatch Canyon, probably 5 miles away from that structure area. There's a really cool side canyon, and at the mouth of it, there is some Indian artwork that's been dated 200 to 400 years ago. And, you know, they've got their normal animals and people, and then they got this giant figure that's double the size of the people, that has giant feet, and it also has horns. And so we decided, you know, hey, this is a good canyon to hike up, and we found structures back there and stuff. Well, there's a section near this waterfall where we always find rock stacks and stuff. And on our epic Bigfoot expedition is what we named it, because we found so many footprints and stuff that day on hiking on the way in this very narrow canyon. I think it was Brody and Jenny. They decided to make a rock stack in that section to see what would happen. So they made this little rock stack, and then it was dark when we started coming out, and we come back out, and right next to that rock stack, probably 5-10 feet from it, a new rock stack was made, and there was these 19-inch footprints that walked right up to them and made that rock stack. At least I'm blaming it on the 19-inch footprints, because those were the only tracks around. And we normally don't gift with food because we don't want to cause a bear problem, but Derek threw a handful of almonds on top of that new rock stack for whoever made that next to ours. So, you know, I kind of always had it in my head, you know, hey, people come through here and make these rock stacks. And then that day just did not make sense. And we casted one of the 19-inch footprints. So if any of you viewers want to look up our epic Bigfoot expedition on the RMSO channel, towards the end of that video is where the rock stack thing happened. And we filmed the footprints that went right up to it and film ourselves casting it. I mean, just a crazy event.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out and see if it looks anything like the ones we found. You know, just like my experience with this bear that broke a huge branch and then didn't make any noise. That's always what I thought it was. Like with all these stacked rocks and everything, I just always thought it was people. But, you know, you kind of start putting the pieces together.
Yeah, I mean, the first experience that you had with the big snapping log, a lot, that's just creepy to me.
Yeah,
that nobody said anything. And yeah, I would be afraid. I don't go out into the woods by myself anymore either. I used to never be afraid of it. I don't go into the woods.
You go wandering off.
She always disappears.
10 minutes, we're like, where's Jen? I don't know. And she's off doing her thing. Yeah,
you guys are there. I'm not in the woods alone.
Yeah, like a mile away.
This is true, but you know, you wander off all the time, man.
If people are around, it's okay. Like, you know, if I go to my spot, I've often felt like something's watching me, even at this last place with this roar. But I just, you know, I've come to know that that's just a feeling you have when you're in the woods sometimes. It wasn't anything like that feeling I had at that other place. But you know, if there's somebody fishing, I feel totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, if there's another person around, then yeah, it changes.
Where's this place? Because I saw buildings when you were driving away, frantically from the place. I saw like
you saw the outhouse, probably.
Oh yeah, it's probably an outhouse. I think
it's just an outhouse.
There's no one there except you in that area.
Oh yeah, there's nobody there.
Wow.
No, nobody was there. That's why. Again, my brain came up with the idea that it's like teenagers or some people up in the hills with speakers, you know, really loud ones. You know, that was the only thing I could come up with, even though there were no cars and there were no other people around.
Those had to be big speakers and really, really close to.
Right. and dragged them up there with some big batteries and hid really good. And yeah, I mean, come on.
There's no reason
for a 2-second prank to watch you and your dog kind of like, what the heck's going on?
Right, and they wouldn't have known that I was even there.
No.
So that's just out the window.
Yeah, that type of a prank just does not make sense, especially in a situation where you might get shot. You know,
especially if you knew me. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned in your comments that your dog didn't look that scared.
Oh, I know.
I think it looked scared.
They probably just didn't watch all the video. You know, they just probably skimmed through parts or something.
The dog looked really spooked and sad afterwards to me.
I know his little ears were all ears were all hanging down, and she was hiding underneath the truck.
Yeah,
that alone tells you right there it was scared.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and when I second guess myself about something, that's kind of my proof right there. I look at the dog and I'm like, yeah, you know, something really happened. But when I was walking out, so I left that spot where that floor was at, and I'm walking back towards the truck. She stayed back behind.
Wow.
And she follows me everywhere. She, you know, she's a dog and she's a lab. She follows me everywhere that I'm going, and she stayed behind. That's why if you look at the video, you'll see that I'm yelling for her. I'm like, "Hi, come on, come on." And once she finally started coming at me, she actually ran into my legs. I think she wanted me to like hold her carrier. She actually ran into my legs. And then after that, she booked it to the truck and was underneath the truck and stayed there.
Aw.
It's pretty, yeah.
Poor girl.
Scared.
Yeah, I've had 2 black labs, and I know that look when they get and their little ears go way down and they droop their ears. It's either because they're ashamed or they're scared.
Yeah.
And she looked scared to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was looking over at the place where my subscriber said, you know, there's something in that tree. She was looking directly there. And then before the roar even happened, back where I was digging when she first came and ran to me and then kind of turned around and just like pointed and looked in that direction. Again, she was looking towards that tree. So she was at 2 completely different angles, but looking at that same exact spot. To me, that's proof something is there, let alone the brown thing that we have in the tree in the footage.
Well, I want to point out some similarities. I mean, to me anyway, and I don't know about Jenny, but your roar that you captured in that sounds just like the one that I heard at the Bauman location. Sounds like the one that we caught on video at the 77 sighting location. And then both of these happen near a river, and they're all Bigfoot sighting hotspots. I mean, I don't know if you knew it or not, but I knew of 3 sightings right away in the area that you're in, and then I went and did some research, and there's another 9, so there's a dozen Bigfoot sightings around that area. It's got a history of them, and then the 2 areas that we got the vocalization is also a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. I'm not going to blame the roar on Bigfoot, but it's pretty compelling that it could be.
Yeah. I didn't know about those spots. Basically, I don't know who's a fan or not of the BFRO, but I used to believe like in Bigfoot, and then when BFRO started doing shows, I pretty much didn't believe anymore. I didn't. I thought I was like, this is all Hollywood. You know, they're just making stuff up. And then I heard.
I knew Matt Moneymaker's work before the television show, and I love his BFRO website. He's got one of the largest collections of Bigfoot sightings, and he's really serious about it. But just in their defense, they have to make this entertaining show, and they're kind of the producers. You know, they're beck and call, so they can't do exactly what they really want to on that show. So, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, I saw an episode or a follow-up or something where they said that they actually weren't happy with some of the things that the producers and directors had made them do. But I was really happy myself to go ahead and call it Hollywood. You know, just made me feel better until something actually happened. So
yeah, they took a lot of heat when it first started, because a lot of Bigfoot researchers are very serious about the subject, and to see it get Hollywoodized, it makes it really sad, you know, because there are some instances where it's like for example, they had some animal guts left out in the forest. I think it's like season 2 or 3, and they went back, and it disappeared, right? And I think they had like a camera, like a one of those camera trail cams, but they say it ran out of battery or something like that. I don't know. It was some BS thing. It was a long time ago, and I was like, "Well, where's the footage?" You know, but them giving that BS excuse, it's like, nah, you guys just playing with us now.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially considering we can go out and put a trail cam. How long do we leave some of these trail cams out there, Kelly?
Year round, the last 6 years.
Year round, and we get months and months and months of footage out of that on a single set of batteries, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, your batteries ran out. Only if you're incompetent.
Hey, but the woo people say that Bigfoot messes with electrical equipment, camera equipment, and drains batteries. So
well, here's the thing, though, Kelly.
I got that comment. About my
his
camera dying right then. Yeah.
Yeah,
there might
be Murphy's law. When you need your camera the most is when. Yeah.
I don't know. There might be some truth to that. You know, that's a coincidence. I don't know. I mean, how long do you have your camera on? Like, did you have it running the whole time? And
I have 3 batteries. Each one lasts about 35 minutes. Not that long. It's shooting in 1080p. It's a Samsung NX300. It's not a great camera. So I don't know when I changed the battery before that. Not sure.
Well, I thought you got great footage. I was really happy with the quality of your video footage. To me, I think you have great equipment, and I really appreciate you posting that, because it's nice to see the relation. And you know, even though we've picked up that similar vocalization twice, we didn't capture it as well as you did. So you know, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, it's practically breathing down his neck. Do you think the vocalization actually come from across the river? Is that the direction you heard it
from? Yeah. I mean, when you're there, you know, you can kind of dial in on the spot, or at least you think you can. It sounded like it was across the river, and then it sounded like it was either 200 or 300 feet, you know, up the river, but on the other side, or it was across the river from me and like maybe 200 feet up the hill. In there somewhere. It was right. It was definitely in there. It was not on my side of the river for sure.
All right. Well, we've reached our hour. Unless you guys want to go into more, have any other questions? Anybody got anything before we button up our podcast?
I just want to thank Dustin for sharing his experience, man. That's pretty cool, man. Something to last a lifetime for. So
right on. I have one thing that's kind of funny. So since it happened, I've kind of started growing more facial hair, so that when I'm out rockhounding, I think I might look a little bit more intimidating. So hopefully that's going to help. We'll see.
Well, I think you have a great YouTube channel because it brings in another element into Bigfooting. You know, you like digging for rocks. And
yeah,
I do got to ask you one question though. Why do you have to keep looking up when you're digging for rocks? Do animals come to you when you're not watching?
On the last video where I'm like looking back.
Yeah. Why do you have to look around? Why can't you just focus on just digging the rocks?
I don't know. You just need to be cognitive of what's around you, I guess. Maybe it's because of what happened to me last year before.
Yeah.
I'm probably traumatized on some level.
Probably.
You know, from that experience, I can't say.
You're probably a little sketchy now.
Yeah. Something else that this really shows, Justin, is, and it's stuff that I think that we've told people time and time again, just go out there, do what you do and act normal, and you're more apt to come across or see something happen because of that.
Right.
So
yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I would like to remind the viewers, go to the description of this podcast down below, and we'll have links to Dustin's video, the videos that we have that we believe we caught the similar vocalizations. And please subscribe to his channel, subscribe to our channel, and subscribe to Bigfoot Evidence, Sean's channel. Sean puts up great material all the time. So do we, and we've been watching Dustin's channel the last couple of weeks too. So hey, everybody out there, keep on watching. We're gonna keep on squatching.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks. You guys all have a good night.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Thanks for being on, Dustin, and I appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you.